Hello and welcome to today's video. We're going to cover the teams that benefit most from the first patch of 2025. I don't know, they're calling it what? Patch 1 of Season 1 of Split 1 of 25. Whatever the heck they're calling it. 15.1, whatever we're feeling. So if you're new to the channel, I do these videos where we look at the patch, but only look very broadly at what champions were buffed, nerfed, or adjusted, and which players tend to play those champions the most, and kind of go from there. Now, because it's such a small patch in terms of champion changes, obviously there are massive game changes to Season 15. I have the board a little different. I might not do this for the next patch only because it might be 20 champions or something, and there's no way I'm going to fit that all on the board. But I thought there were some interesting things to take away from what was essentially changing the AD carry role a bit on this patch. So Ashe, Kalista, Varus, and Twitch were all adjusted. Now, that makes it kind of tough whether it was a buff or a nerf. I went with it as a buff. I guess early games it is a nerf. I mean, neither here nor there. I guess theoretically, look at it this way. If they're seen as nerfs, then all these teams are negatively affected. If they're buffs, they're all positively affected that I have listed here. So to determine a buff between 2023 and 2024, a player had to play that champion at least 5% of their games at a tier 1 level. That means rookies do not, get they kind of get screwed on this. If a team has a lot of rookies, they kind of get screwed. But so Ashe, Kalista, and Varus all buffed, and there were several teams that had players that played them a significant amount. So with FlyQuest, Masu played Ashe 15% of his games this past season, Kalista and Varus 17%. So if it's a buff, FlyQuest are going to be pretty happy. Isris Astral, Snaker, played Ashe 6% of his games, Kalista 11%, Varus 13%, Weibo with Light 6, 7, 12, G2 Hansama 7, 11, 12, Rogue and Patrick 7, 8, and 11. C9 Sven 7, 23, and 10. Keep in mind he only played in summer split, so there are some teams, like you look at BLG Elk or Guma on T1, they played 250 plus games, 300 games. So they had to play a lot of, on certain champions, but that's also more games to play them. So keep that in mind. And also we don't factor in whether teams outright ban something against a player all the time. Team Liquid, Yeon 5, 9, and 10, and CFO Doggo 7, 10, and 5. So these teams all have a situation where all three of these champions, their 80 carries played them quite a bit in the last 2 seasons. Now, if they're not listed, it's because out of every 20 games, those players didn't play it as much. And outside of the ban rule, we could just say maybe they don't like playing that champion. Maybe it's not high up on their priority list of things to pull out. Now, in terms of teams that didn't play any of these champions more than 5% of games. So DFM Milan, he only played 19 games in 2023, so he gets kind of a pass. Rahel with SK Gaming, last season he only played 21 games in the LEC. He also did not get he did not get an opportunity to play many games on these champions. And then there's Upset, which was interesting. So Upset did not play Ashe, Kalista, Varus much at all the last 2 seasons. And yeah, we could look back to 2020 and he may have played them, 2019 or whatever may have played them. But the last 2 years, he didn't really want to play them all that much, at least based on that, unless it was banned against him all the time. But these guys did, which tells me if there's anybody that's more likely to play these champions, it's going to be the guys that already are doing it. These teams only get buffed if these champions actually turn out to be better off after these adjustments versus nerfed. Now, Twitch. So, similar boat. Now, there are only about, 780 carries that I found that are going into this season that played it at a tier 1 level in the last 2 years. Pays played it twice with Gen G. He's the only one to play it more than once. LGD Shawi, EDG Asum, KT Duckdom, Top Esports Jackie Love, BDS Ice and G2 Hansama all played Twitch once the last 2 years. So actually, you cross-reference that, and only G2 can actually claim that their AD carry has played all 4 champions in that span. At least, well, actually, I guess that isn't fair, because we know that is not fair. That's not true at all. I thought about it some more. Of course, Jackie Love's played these fucking champions. Duck Down, of course, has played these champions. But you look at it, the only team that can say, hey, I've played all 3 of these champions at a high level and then also sprinkled a Twitch game in there is Hansama. And then, interestingly enough, we have these guys. These guys, I guess, would also fall under, if these champions are nerfed, these teams benefit because they're not harmed by the nerf. Because these AD carries didn't play Ashe or Kalista at all the last 2 years, at least based off of some research. Now, I could be wrong. If you want to look at it and double check for yourself, maybe I am off. Maybe there were a couple games in there and I just missed it. But Ashe, leave for Ninja in Pajamas, didn't play it. Eddie of Team Secret Whales didn't play it. Rahel and Upset in Milan. Well, Upset's kind of the only significant one on there, right? That didn't play it the last 2 years, at least what I saw. Kalista, Taeyun of Team We did not play it when he played with KDF. Now, a lot of his games occurred in 2023, which in part played a role in that. Ultra Prime Wako, no Kalista really. And then Milan once more. So, a patch that didn't have many champion changes, which was a surprise. But, of course, objective changes, turret changes, etc. And, of course, this, bounty system and objective system and, items and everything else. It's significant changes in that regard. So, we're going to see some things occur that, honestly, I'm not even really getting into the nitty-gritty about right now. I expect going forward that this video will be a little cleaner. Just a lot of videos going out right now trying to get this video done. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.